Hey guys, Joe from Real Talk, and today I continue my Batman reviews with the 2005 Batman flick directed by Christopher Nolan and starring Christian Bale. I am talking, of course, about Batman Begins. After years and years and years of wondering and thinking when Batman would return on the big screen, we finally got Batman back on the big screen, and undoubtedly in a major comeback with this Christopher Nolan movie, and I believe to be one of the best superhero interpretation movies of all time. This was also first part of the Dark Knight trilogy that included Dark Knight in 2008 and The Dark Knight Rises in 2012 as a part of a continuity story arc. Alright guys, so I'm going to go through an overview of the entire plot for Batman Begins. So if you've already watched the movie and do not want to hear an overview, just click on your screen right now to get my review of the movie. If not, let's go ahead and go through the entire story of Batman Begins. We meet Bruce Wayne as a child when he falls into a well and being attacked by a swarm of bats. He has a development of fear of bats and then attends an opera with his parents. Bruce is then frightened by the show because the actors are dressed up as bats and wants to leave. His parents all agree to go with him outside and to leave the area. Outside, the family is targeted by a mugger named Joe Chill, who murders Bruce's parents in cold blood and leaves poor Bruce Wayne to be raised by the family butler, Alfred Pennyworth, played by Michael Caine. 14 years later, Chill is freed in exchange for testifying against Gotham City mafia boss Carmine Falcone. Bruce intends to murder Chill in revenge, but one of Falcone's men does the job for him. Bruce's childhood friend and assistant district attorney Rachel Dawes, played by Katie Holmes, tells him that he's doing a terrible thing by thinking about going against the legal system and taking the matter into his own hands. Then she tells Bruce that his father would be ashamed. In anger, Bruce confronts Falcone in a nightclub where Falcone demonstrates that real power comes from being feared. Bruce decides to travel the world to seek new abilities and to seek new ways to confront the injustice that has come over Gotham City. While in prison, he meets Henry Ducard, who offers to train him as a member of the League of Shadows, led by Ra's al Ghul. After completing his training and purging his fears, Bruce learns the League intends to actually destroy Gotham City, attempting that it's corrupted beyond saving and that the city should be burned to the ground. Bruce then rejects the crusade and causes a fire that burns down the League's temple. Rage is killed by falling debris while Bruce saves an unconscious Ducard. Bruce then returns to Gotham City posing as the billion-dollar playboy and intents on fighting crime, and takes a huge interest in his family's company, Wayne Enterprises, run by the unscrupulous William Earl. The company's top scientist, Lucius Fox, introduces Bruce to a lot of different technologies of prototypes, including a heavy armed car named the Tumbler and a protective bodysuit. Bruce then takes up the identity of Batman, the vigilante hero, with all of the new resources he has acquired from Lucius Fox.
What the hell are you? I'm Batman. Nice coat.
As Batman, he intercepts a drug shipment and provides Rachel Dawes with evidence to bring down Falcone, and empowering the honest Sergeant James Gordon to arrest the previously untouchable crime boss. When Falcone threatens to reveal that actually he's been involved in a plot to bring in drugs for Crane's employers, Caine then exposes him to the drug and then wears a mask, driving Falcone insane with the fear of the Scarecrow. While investigating Caine, Batman is exposed to the drug and is left defenseless. He is saved by Alfred, who gives him the antidote developed by Lucius Fox. At Arkham, Rachel also goes into her own investigation and then accuses Caine of corruption. Caine then reveals that he's been pouring the drug into Gotham's water supply for the past couple of months. He doses Rachel with it as well, but she is rescued by Batman, who leads a huge chase throughout the Gotham City in his new Tumbler. Batman then cures Rachel and leaves her with 2 vials of the antidote, one for Gordon and one for the mass production. During his 30th birthday celebration at the manor, Bruce Wayne is confronted by Ducard, who reveals himself to be the real Ra's al Ghul. Bruce expels his guests so that they would be safe from this incoming attack from the League of Shadows. Rage then reveals that he employed Caine and stole a powerful microwave emitter from Wayne Enterprises that will be used to vaporize the tainted water supply, making the drug airborne and causing hysteria and violence that will eventually lead Gotham to its own destruction. Rage's men set fire to the mansion, and Bruce is once again saved by Alfred as the League commences their plan. Batman then rescues Rachel from a drug mob group and indirectly reveals his identity to her before pursuing Rage on a monorail train carrying the emitter towards Gotham's central water source. Gordon then takes the tumbler and uses its cannon to destroy a section of the track and to derail the train. Batman overpowers Rage but then refuses to kill him, and then also refuses to save him, and then he glides out of the train car and leaving Rage to die as the train crashes and explodes. Batman saves all of Gotham and becomes a public hero. He however loses Rachel in the process, who says she cannot be with Bruce Wayne while he is with Batman. Bruce then buys a section out of Wayne Enterprises and then fires Earl to replace him with Lucius Fox. Gordon was also promoted to lieutenant of the Gotham Police Force and shows Batman the new and shiny bat signal and mentions a new criminal amongst Gotham. So guys, that was in fact Batman Begins. I thought it does the character of Batman justice. I thought Christian Bale's role was a memorable one, and I think that he just continues to perform well as Batman. I feel like Christian Bale brought that playboy intensity to his role. I thought he was a much more bigger playboy than Michael Keaton's character ever was. I'm not saying Michael Keaton's an ugly guy, but Christian Bale just screams charisma when he walks into the room. I know one of the biggest criticism of Christian Bale's Batman is in fact his voice, but I think that it only makes sense since people really won't tell the difference if he spoke in his normal voice and then use the same voice as Batman, because people can put two and two together. I mean, people aren't that stupid, and I think that him changing his voice as Batman was necessary. Did I think it was a little too much? Maybe, but at the same time, it was definitely needed. As far as the rest of the cast goes, I really liked everybody else in this movie as well. Michael Caine was pretty awesome as well. I mean, I thought that he is a good portrayal of Alfred, and when he's on screen and when he's in around Bruce Wayne, he's offering him advice that Thomas Wayne would expect him to say, and so you hear Thomas Wayne through Michael Caine's Alfred Pennyworth, and I think that his role was one of the best ones in the movie. Also, another good role done in the movie was Ra's al Ghul, played by Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson just brings so much into the role. He really does bring in a lot of intensity, and I think that it made sense for him to have a secret identity before revealing himself to Bruce Wayne, because Bruce Wayne was openly admitted by Ra's al Ghul to be his favorite student. So it only made sense that Ra's al Ghul reveals his true, identity to Batman, since Batman revealed his true identity to him. Let's move on to James Gordon, played by the wonderful and awesome Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman likes to put himself in almost every franchise, and he wouldn't get away without doing one in Batman. And his performance as James Gordon was great. He wasn't the commissioner, he wasn't lieutenant, he was just a sergeant, and he was empowered by Batman to be the honest one that would deliver his news to the police, because he was the only one that he really trusted. James Gordon was the one that was there to comfort Bruce Wayne after his parents' death, and I thought that offered some relatable factors into believing why Batman would trust James Gordon to take his news into the police force, because he was there whenever his parents died. He's still there, which means he's still there fighting the good fight, still trying to find the best in the police force. But as for Christopher Nolan's tone of the entire Batman trilogy, it definitely stands out amongst everybody else. And I do see a lot of movies trying to take that template of Batman Begins origin story and to put it into other origin stories for other superhero movies, like we saw with Amazing Spider-Man and we saw with the Fantastic Four. They're gonna have their tone very much looks like the Batman Begins, and that's just based off the trailer. But I do feel like a lot of movies are trying to go for that origin story of like the Batman Begins movie, and it's for a good reason, because the movie was a perfect origin story of the Batman character. But as for the movie itself, I will give it a 8 out of 10 for being just awesome in a lot of levels. The plot was great. The character performances were on point. The direction by Christopher Nolan, definitely a breath of fresh air after all of the debacle that we got from Joel Schumacher, and definitely gave Batman its dark tone back. It gave Batman its comeback that it needed. But guys, let me know in the comments what you thought of this review. Let me know what you thought of Batman Begins as well. Leave a like on this video and subscribe to check out other Batman reviews on this page, along with plenty of other videos that you can check out right now. But guys, this has been Joel from Real Talk. Go watch some movies.